Was the staffing ever changed when your residents, who you were assigned to, became more difficult to care for?
Objection.
Okay.
Sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't.
But would you say most of the time they didn't?
Objection.
Most of the time it did.
So are you saying in your experience as a CNA at Williamston Rehab during this time that you didn't have enough time to meet the needs of all your residents because of short staffing?
Object to leading.
What I'm saying is sometimes we didn't have time to meet it at that point when they cut that light on. When they cut that light on for assistance, we could be in another room with another resident. So we have to take care of that resident before we could go to that one. Sometimes it's not right then. You know, it will be a few minutes. You know, they will have to wait until we finish that resident and take care of that one. You understand what I'm saying?
When you worked at Britthaven, every so often you would get a work evaluation.
Yes.
And during that process, you would have an opportunity to comment or to respond as to anything that you thought was interfering with your ability to do a good job. Isn't that true? Isn't it true, Ms. Pope, that on none of the evaluations that you received while you were employed at Britthaven, did you ever say that you didn't have enough help to do a good job?
No.
Okay. And if that were true, you would have said it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I'd tell it. Yeah, sure, I'd tell it.
Did you witness any particular problems in the facility that you would say were the result of short or understaffing, like brown rings on sheets?
Objection to leading the witness.
Yeah, I have witnessed that.
What's the significance of seeing brown rings on residents' sheets?
Objection.
They laid in their urine too long, in a saturated diaper too long, and it just leaked out from the diaper onto the sheet. And a brown ring represents it's been there too long.
And in your experience as a CNA, did that have to do with a CNA? Did it generally have to do with a CNA not having time to do rounds?
Yes.
Objection.
How about during that period, did you witness dried feces on residents' sheets?
I've seen it before, but not that much. But I've seen it before.
Do you remember any particular problems with Johnny Person's care that had to do with short staffing?
Objection.
I mean, not on my shift. I don't know about any other shift.
Well, I'm just asking if you personally witnessed anything about his care that you felt was the result of understaffing or short staffing.
Objection.
I have.
During that period that we're discussing, during Johnny Person's residency, were there ever problems in your experience with wound dressings not being changed?
Objection.
I think I said that I have experienced that.
How about incontinent care not being done timely?
Objection.
I can't say that either. No.
Is it fair to say, Ms. Pope, that wherever you have worked, the CNAs have always complained about staffing?
True.
Okay. No matter what the facility is or what the situation is, you would always like to have more help, wouldn't you?
True.
But the fact of the matter is, you could get your job done. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you thought that somebody's brown stain on his sheets was a result of that resident being abused and neglected, willfully disregarded, people just not taking care of them, either because they just couldn't or they didn't want to. If you thought that were true, that would be abuse, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And you understood that you would have had a duty under your license to report that abuse.
Yes.
You never reported any abuse about Johnny Person, did you?
No, because, I mean, all that I lived with him.
Okay. Did you, when you took care of Mr. Person, did you provide good care to him?
I did what I had to do, yes.
Did you provide care to the best of your ability and judgment?
Yes.
Did you do as good a job for Mr. Persons as you typically did for other residents under your care?
The same, yes.
And did you act reasonably and try to do your best in taking care of Mr. Persons?
Yes.
Okay.
And why do you say that that's too many residents? Did it affect your ability to provide care?
Objection.
Well, no, not really, but you think you one person and you got 25 to 30 residents. You can't only do it so much in 8 hours when everybody's bedridden and you got to turn and clean poop and this, that, and other. Yes, it's too much.
Well, so I'm just trying to understand. I mean, if you're saying it's too much, then it sounds like you're saying it affected your ability to get all the worked on because you had too many residents. Is that not true?
Objection.
No, I got the work done.
Did you find Mr. Person wet and nasty often where the aides had not been taking care of him?
Objection.
Well, when Renee would call me in the room to assist her sometimes, yes, he would be. And then I would also work with Mr. Person one-on-one. And sometimes I have seen him like that. Come in about 11:30, soaking wet.
When you found him that way, was that an indication to you as a CNA in your experience that he had not been taken care of properly?
Objection.
Yes.
And so if you've just provided care to somebody, just given them a bath or just brushed his teeth or whatever, and you walk out of the room and he has an incontinent episode right then and there, it's going to be a little while before somebody finds out about it.
Exactly.
Okay. That doesn't mean you're not doing your job, does it?
No, because that happened to me with residents.
Are you prepared to say that any CNA or nurse at Williamston Rehab willfully ignored Mr. Person's need for incontinent care?
Objection.
Not on
Calls
my
for legal
shift I'm aware
conclusion.
of. Not
And-
on 11 to
and-
7 shift. I can't speak for the other shift.
All right, so this is called discovery. We're just trying to find out the facts, and so I have to know what Ms. Hathaway can tell us. So if I understand your testimony, Ms. Hathaway, you can't give us the name of a single CNA or nurse that you can testify from your own personal knowledge who left Mr. Person in a soiled diaper when he shouldn't have.
No.
Even when you were busy, Ms. Hathaway, did you still put your residents first?
Yes, I did.
Did you still provide them with good care?
Yes, I did.
Did you provide good care to Mr. Persons when you took care of him?
The
To
best
the
I
best-
did. Yes,
to
I
the
did.
best
Best
of
of
your
my
ability?
ability. Yes,
And
sir, I
good.
did.
Did you do as good a job for Mr. Persons as you typically did for other residents under your care?
Yes, I did.
Did you act reasonably and try to do your best in taking care of Mr. Persons?
Yes, I did.
And again, can you tell me the name of one CNA or nurse who, based on your own observation that you are willing to say now, under oath, did not provide care of Mr. Persons to the best of his or her own ability?
No, sir.
Were you surprised by the number of pressure ulcers that Johnny Person had?
No,
Why?
he had other problems that lead to pressure ulcers.
Did you ever see any evidence that patient care was being compromised?
No,
Did you comply with the standard of care with respect to the care and treatment you gave Johnny Person?
yes, I did.
Did Britthaven of Williamston comply with the standard of care with respect to the care and treatment that Johnny Person received?
Yes, they did.
Would you agree that Mr. Person's pressure ulcers were not preventable?
In Mr. Person's case, there would be no way to prevent the ulcer.
Would you agree Johnny Person was at high risk for malnutrition based on his renal disease?
Certainly, but there's not much you can do to fix that. So
Were contractures to be expected based on his medical condition?
that's the natural course of post-severe stroke with paralysis. You're going to develop contractures, and you can't stop nature from taking its course. If you talk about this as somebody who's got a setup to develop aspiration pneumonia, he had it. He had many factors that contributed to his development of aspiration pneumonia, and you do your best to prevent, but you can't prevent all of them. In his case, the likelihood that he would develop one would be very high.
Okay. And when you say the likelihood that he would develop an aspiration pneumonia would be very high, is that still the case even if he received
No matter, you
appropriate
could do
care?
everything perfectly and still isn't going to prevent them all.
Okay.
The man had bad disease, and he was at the end of his life, and he may have even lived a month or two exceeding what you would expect at the end of his life to be. His demise wasn't hastened by anything anybody did trying to help him.
Did you find the management at Britthaven generally willing to provide the resources that you needed to provide what you considered to be a high standard of care?
Objection.
In general, yes.
Do you believe this nursing home, Williamston Rehab, had pressure ulcer and incontinent care problems before and during Johnny Person's residency there?
Yes, I do.
And do you think that, in your opinion, the nursing home management knew about this problem?
Yes.
And did the nursing home nonetheless disregard this problem with respect to Johnny Person, in your opinion?
Yes.
And was that disregard conscious on the part of the nursing home and the nursing home management then, in your
Yes.
opinion?
Yes, it was.
And was the nursing home and nursing home management indifferent, in your opinion, to Johnny Person's rights and safety?
Yes.
As to whether or not they willfully did it, I don't know that I can state that one way or the other, to be honest with you. Is providing adequate hydration. Again, I know what the orders were. I know what the documents reflected. Whether or not they forgot, it was unintentional. All I know, it was consistent. I can't state to their mind of willful neglect there. The same way with the infection and the hygienic measures with regards to the contractures. Again, that was a disregard of what was needed. Whether it was willful or not, there's no way I can tell.
What I'm saying is I'm hearing two really different stories about the care you're saying you saw that your father received. And I'm asking for you to tell me what's the truth. What's the truth? Is your deposition testimony to say the truth, or was it?
The truth is that what I saw was him laying in his stool and being wet at times. That's the truth.
Okay, so if that's the truth, then Mr. Person, there's no way that this statement you gave in your deposition testimony, in your other lawsuit, your statement, quote, when I was there was always somebody that would come in and try to turn him or change him, make sure he needed changing and stuff like that. There's no way that statement could be true, which means somewhere there's a lie. And that's what I want to know. Where's the lie?